US men's national team at Mexico, Argentina and Germany, they already know that they've won their group and they're into the round of 32, but there's still a lot of question marks, isn't there, around who they could be playing and what are the permutations, as they will change every goal that is scored. It might seem a bit chaotic, but luckily for us, we've got The Athletic, who have put together a real-time bracket forecast on the current results. So let's welcome in Ryan Best, the senior graphics developer from The Athletics. Ryan, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. This all looks a little bit confusing at a first glance. So just tell us, how do you create something like this? Is it done by a computer? Are you updating it manually as you go? Give us the background into this bracket.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me here. I'm really enjoying being on the show today. So it's definitely a complicated process, right? There's a lot of different rules in the tournament, which teams get slotted in where, how do different matches and the different results correspond to where you live. So it is all coded, it's computer generated, but it's code that we have written. So basically what we needed to do is figure out what are all the different permutations of where a team could finish, first in the group to fourth in the group, which third place teams finish, in which spots, and who gets through to the knockout tournament. And then we kind of automatically, given any set of results, can run those through our algorithms, and it tells us who finished in which spot, who makes a knockout rounds, and where they go into the bracket. Now, complicated thing is we also had to simulate 100,000 times for matches that haven't happened. So
wow.
we kind of put together ideas of how good teams are, and when two teams face each other, how many goals might they expect to score, and what might the margins be. We then simulate each of those matches, like I said, 100,000 times, and count up, okay, and how many of those matches did Paraguay beat Australia? And if so, where do they get into the bracket? So it's a very complicated set of interconnected rules and kind of decisions that you have to make to reflect the real tournament structure, and then make sure that comes through accurately in the bracket forecast.
Sorry for the question. What are you, my mom, by the way?
What?
Do you plug them in manually? Do you just wake up in the morning with a cup of coffee and think, oh, I just plug that team in there?
Yeah, but they have to predict how many goals is going to be scored. So there is, Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, part of it that does have to be done manually, right, where you're looking and assessing how each team is doing. Or is that wrong?
Well, we actually have an automated data feed now. Okay. So anytime any minute passes in a match, anytime a goal is scored.
Manual stopped in 1984.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
it's 2026. We're actually athletic.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Go on, then,
the complicated
question,
some of the complicated parts of that, though, is right. Like there is a pre-match win probability for each team, right? We have an idea of how likely this team is to win that game, but every minute that ticks through that match that a goal is not scored, the probability of a draw goes up, right? So the way this project is set up is those all flow through from the beginning of a match probability all the way to your odds of making it out of the groups or winning the whole tournament, right? So anytime any event in a match happens, the entire page is going to reflect that, and you'll have an idea of, okay, when my team scores a goal, how does that influence my odds to win the group, to make the quarterfinals, and to go through to win the whole tournament?
So we saw the bracket, but we didn't see the bracket finish. But I am sure you've probably done your own, and you've seen who the winner is. Where is England's death in this tournament? Because I know that's the math is not saying that they're winning.
Yes, that's a tough question. Well, that's the beauty of the bracket tool, is I can kind of go there and say, okay, let me highlight England in the bracket, see where they're likely to be, and see who they're likely to play. So, they're likely to get one of the third place groups right now. It's DRC in the first round. If they get through that, they're looking at probably Scotland. But the Mexico matchup is Brazil is the second highest odd team to play Scotland in that first round. So there is a world where they get around a 16 matchup against Brazil, which would be very spicy. And then even after that, we're looking at one of Brazil, Japan, Ivory Coast, France, or Norway. So it's going to be a tough road, but I do like their chances. They're looking really good so far in this turn.
Thank you, Ryan. I like their chances too.
No, Ryan, I was going to ask you about Italy, but you wouldn't have had to do that for a while, so that won't be in there. But what I will ask you about, though, is the US. Obviously, we're all getting very excited about what we see, but how does their path look? And, do they go on a deep run or not?
Yeah, they've actually kind of netted out here to a pretty fortuitous path, I would say, in the knockouts. They have one of the easiest rounds. So, again, the way that FIFA has structured these rules, it's going to be most likely either Bosnia or Qatar that they face in the first round. If one of those two teams qualifies as the third place team, that is very, very likely, if not almost 100%, who the United States is going to play in that first round. Then they would get, let's say, the favorite of the Seattle July 1st matchup happens. They win. That looks like either Egypt or Belgium. Neither have been super impressive in this tournament in terms of how the round of 16 matchups go. Pretty good for the U.S. when we're talking about the idea that there could be a Germany-France matchup in the round of 16, right? So would rather play Egypt or Belgium than either of those teams. So when we look at our forecast, they actually are the 6th highest odds to make the quarterfinals right now, and they are not the 6th rated team in terms of the team quality that they have. So they're looking at a pretty good matchup and pretty good path right now as things, as the odds show in the forecast, in the bracket.
That's so true. That is a really favourable bracket. By the way, Grella, if you hate England so much and you're so high on the US,
England.
you do.
I don't.
But you just looked at that graphic and thought, okay, lay up, whatever it is
Here we
that you
go
say.
again. You haven't had enough?
Which is going to make it further, England or the US, if you had to put some money down?
Looking at the bracket, 50-50 between the two right now.
Yeah.
If I have to guess one, I'll say the US.
You have to remember,
I'll say the US.
Bosnia, a tough game for everyone. Beat loads of big teams. Oh, you forgot. You forgot Italy.
They didn't beat us. We drew with them.
Anyway.
And are you curious about this bracket at all now?
Poppy just wants to know, do you take a horse and carriage to work, or do you...
I ride the Peloton all the way.
Just to go back right quickly, how do you break down the tiebreakers?
Yes, so the tiebreakers has been one of the more complicated parts of this whole ordeal, right? So the changes that FIFA has made, on face, it's a little bit simpler, right? As long as you beat a team, you're going to beat them in terms of your group standings, right? But when you add the third place tiebreakers, it adds a lot of complicated interwoven parts of how many points do I have? Do I think my 3 points and a -3 goal differential might be good enough to make it to the next round? So what we've had to do is think about every possible permutation of the 3-team tiebreakers and the 4-team tiebreakers, who would make it through. So it kind of adds this allure and this weight to these games where, Senegal has, one of my favorite teams has lost their first couple matches, but there's a real now weight to their last game. And we can computationally say, what's the minimum you need to kind of get over that finish line and to get through? And the interesting part of that right now is, if you look at kind of the odds and when we run these numbers, in order for a team to make it through as a third place team, if you finish with 3 points with a -4 goal differential as a third place team, you still have over a 50% chance to make it through. So that's kind of the line that we're looking at, where if you can get over that mark, if you can get that 4th point, if you can get 1 or 2 goals at the end of the game and get that goal differential down to -2, -1, you have a really good shot to make it to the round of 32.
Ryan, I love it. Thank you, by the way, for doing all these calculations for us, because I like looking at the updated bracket and to see what everything looks like after
Especially when he's
match.
written it out every single night. It's been
Yes,
crazy.
and delivered it by pigeon to our studio. Thanks, Ryan. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that US, now that they're through and the game against Turkey, it doesn't really mean that much. That means that the US men's national team's really going to be looking at the next game between Bosnia, Herzegovina and Qatar to really maybe see, Grell, how those teams look and who they could face in that next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bosnia and Qatar.
Is there a question? Was there a question or not?
Yeah, the question
What do
is,
you wanna know?
which one do you think they would rather face?
Oh, Bosnia or Qatar?
Yeah.
Or Senegal? Well, definitely not Senegal.
Well, they're not going to face Senegal, if you listen to
There's an 8% chance, no?
the realistic one is Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Either one. Either one.
Qatar.
They'd rather face Qatar. Obviously, I watched Qatar play in the first game. Bosnia got a little bit more about them, a little bit more difficult to play against. They'll be organized. But, yeah, they certainly want to play against Qatar. But this is... Listen, your home soil against these teams, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for this group to go and really actually do something special. They got an unbelievable route to the final.
It's nice that they play each other, right? So you can see.
There you go. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, but obviously Bosnia and Qatar, they play each other, so that will obviously determine who finishes where. But I think Bosnia, stylistically, is a much harder game. With them sitting in and trying to basically be awkward and then try and hit you on set piece. I think Qatar is the game you want, because Qatar are going to come out and just be expansive, which with all the pace, the power the US have, I expect them to go all over Qatar. If for whatever reason, somehow they play Senegal.
Difficult game.
You're going home.
Difficult game. No, I don't know if we're going home.
It's a difficult game. It's a difficult game.
Do you think that many would agree with Grell that the US will go further than England, if you had to predict?
No, I don't think many will. But again, it's always about how it breaks down and the bracket. And who end up coming up against. Again, if they're going to get draws like this, then you go, okay, we've got more of a chance. And if England, I didn't really listen to what he was saying about all the way through for England with the bracket. So if England ended up with a Germany, a France, a Brazil, as he said, in that, then you don't know. I would expect us to beat them, but you never know, right?
There's one side of the bracket that, as things stood the other day, is much harder than the side that the US is on.
It's like the Champions League.
A little bit.
Remember, Arsenal had that favourable run all the way through. PSG had to go through a gauntlet, so it's always difficult.
Mm-hmm. Which one do you think, Nige, Qatar?
Someone reboot him.
Hold on.
Someone reboot.
I talk too much.
Someone reboot him.
It's a problem. Then all of a sudden they're uncomfortable that I'm not saying anything. But no, that makes sense. I think Qatar will be the more.
By the way, could you imagine if Nige had to be in charge of that computer system and calculating how I'd be thinking? Sorry, carry on. Please carry on.
Are you done? Or you
because it was a lot. So Qatar, you're saying?
Kids, are you done?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Qatar will be the more favourable draw, for sure. I think Bosnia definitely will be a tougher draw, but like you said, they play each other, and then we're going to see how that plays out. But it is very favourable for the US, and also playing on home soil, the fans, and everyone's getting behind it now. They've really got to race to that occasion. They've got to really take the momentum of the fan base and how they've captivated a nation, really and truly, to get behind them this World Cup and use that.
No, you've got to remember, they do have the best right back in world football as well. So it'd be a massive loss if they didn't go through, right?
Yeah, they'll be the favourites. They'll be the favourites in this game.
Also, imagine not being a football fan and watching this World Cup for the first time ever and thinking, wow, the US...
They're good, yeah.
They're really good. That must be so enjoyable for all US men's national team newcomers.
Especially when you compete.
They were good for 3 quarters out of the 8, if you want to put it that way.
So are you saying you're still not entirely convinced?
I didn't like what I saw the second half, the last 20 minutes in particular.
Against Australia.
Game. Yeah. When they had a moment to manage the game, Australia come and press them. Usually the really good teams there say, okay, come press us, boom, we draw you out, a couple passes, and they're dangerous. Maybe that changed with the Balogun chance. If he scores that breakaway, maybe that changed things. But we'll see. I'm sure they'll look at it. It's good that it happened then in that game. They'll look at it, and I'm sure Pochettino has some answers.
And they've got an enjoyable match day, haven't they, against Turkey, which doesn't mean anything because they are through as the group winners.